Hello friends, it's Molly with Soul School Tarot and Astrology. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to my channel if you are new. Welcome back if you are not. Today I have for you guys a timeless reading for my Gemini collective. So if you are a Sun, Moon, Rising, maybe you have a strong third house, however you identify with Gemini, I'm going to leave that up to you. This reading is for you. Real quick before we get into it, I do want to say that if you're interested in getting a personal monthly reading just for you, you can sign up for that at the link below. You can do that in 15, 30, and 45-minute increments. And they only begin at $17 a month. So hit subscribe and save when you guys check out. You will get an email from me, like a private YouTube video link from me once a month within about 48 hours of your payment. Anytime you guys have a specific question, you can shoot that to me via email. Otherwise, I'm just going to see what kind of messages Spirit has for you. It has been a lot of fun for those who have been subscribing for the past couple months. So sending major props to all of you out there and inviting the rest of you to join. So I'm going to take a real quick sip of water because this is a Gemini reading. And I have a feeling that like the words are just going to start flowing because it took a second, but this reading clicked and I know exactly what we have to say here. Let me get my sip of water. And I want to let you know there will not be an extended to this today. This is what you get. But happy in bulk to those of you who observe. Let's go ahead. I started off with the Whispers of the Ocean Oracle for you guys, and I got 3 cards out that I really like. There's a lot of green here that has to do with heart chakra energy. All right, I feel like there has been some sort of heart chakra activation in the past that has really led to an increased love of self. Not even just like, you know what, I shouldn't be so hard on myself, I'm awesome, but like, it's fun to be me kind of vibes, all right? That's the feeling that I'm getting. But you have realized, I feel like there have been some lessons learned in the past, and you have realized that in order for you to continue to enjoy the journey, right? Look at all the varied creatures that you will meet on your journey. Look at all those awesome, you're gonna hang out with sea turtles and dolphins and anemone and all that cool stuff. But I feel like what you're learning is, in order for you to protect your good time, and not even just your good time, but your good energy, you're going to have to set up parameters. That's something that you are beginning to understand about yourself. And one of the clues that's coming through is all of these plants, I guess. This like seaweed that we see here on the ocean floor has all of these tentacles. And these tentacles are very receptive. All right. So they grow out into their environment, which is masculine. It's just assertive. It's an energy, not a body part. Okay. But they do that once they're out there, once they put themselves out there, they just absorb. Right? That's what it is like to be a Gemini. Geminis are very social creatures, but can tend to, in fact, I'm a Gemini moon, and one of the, I guess, stereotypes about Gemini moons is that they're very chameleon-like. Their personalities will sometimes shift to match those of the people that they're hanging around. And it's not an intentional thing. It's just that there's literally like 18 people living in here, right? And if you're vibing with one of my people, that's the people that's going to come out. You know what I mean? But what that means is sometimes when we're in these social environments or in these large groups of people, we're not always being our authentic self. All right. And again, it's not because we don't want to be, or we're hiding from or running from who we are, but that's just a thing that happens as a Gemini. You hang around somebody long enough, you're going to start to act like them, to the point that when you're alone, you're like, am I like that? Right? So you're beginning to understand. And in fact, I think being forced into quarantine, because this feels like the end of a long process for me. just energetically, it feels like these realizations are coming maybe after you've been in quarantine for like almost a year, and you realize that when you're in your own energy, something happens. Your heart lights up, right? It's like this part of you that you haven't always been gets to shine. This part of you that maybe is not the easiest to be when you're around other people really gets to shine. And you like that part of you, right? So here's what you got to do. You're wanting to come out of this like hermitage, so to speak. Maybe it's a little bit of a hermitiness, right? But you're going to have to do so with boundaries. Because there's polka dots here and there's polka dots here, this is you also, all right? Even though this is the crab, for some reason I felt like there was going to be a really like a bleed through between the Gemini and Cancer readings today, because I am going to sit down and do Cancer next. So check in on that, all right? Maybe the twins will show up there. Who knows? The lovers, who knows? But here's a crab in a Gemini reading, all right? So some of you guys might be cuspers. I also got the message that because even though this is a timeless reading, as like today when I'm filming it, Mercury is retrograde. And for some of you guys, Mercury is retrograde in your chart, or you have planets in Gemini and Virgo, which are the Mercury ruled signs, or the 3rd or 6th house that are retrograde, all right? But the retrograde is important. It's just a time to look over things that were always there, but we get to see them from a different perspective. All right. So this, a polite declaration came up. Was it a Cancer reading? Was it a Gemini reading a while ago? When I kept getting that quote from Nietzsche when he's like, I am such and such a person. But it was like this crab. It was like, I am such and such a crab. Do not mistake me for anybody else. So here's the thing. I mentioned in either the Aries or the Taurus reading that I just did a couple of days ago that energetically we are who we surround ourselves with, right? Like if you want to vibe at a certain level and you're constantly hanging around with people, places, and situations that are not vibing at that level, that's going to be really hard for you to get there, right? We are, just as much as the world around us is influenced by our vibration, we are influenced by the vibrations of the people that we choose to surround ourselves with. People, places, and situations, right? And, I just heard a quote from Ayanla. Ayanla Van Zant says, you're responsible for the energy that you bring into a room. And I think you guys are beginning to see that. You're beginning to see that when you're not around certain people, you carry a different energy. So now you're like, well, how do I go back and expose myself to those people, places, and situations and still maintain my energetic sovereignty? And polite declaration. Hello, excuse me. This is my boundary. I remember doing a reading for a really good friend of mine, and we're about the same age. We've been through a lot of similar life experiences. And it came up, the reading was about setting boundaries. And she straight up was like, I don't know how to do that. Yo, same. Okay, like I've had to teach myself. It's a part of the reparenting process. Because if you grew up in an environment where you were not allowed to have boundaries, or whenever you tried to speak a boundary, somebody else was like, no, you don't have that privilege. Like you don't like it when I do that? I'm going to go ahead and do that anyways, right? For some of you, this is new because your right to have boundaries was not respected or honored at some point in time in the past. And it might have been during your childhood, okay? So for some of you, this is a new task. Like, see how his eyes, he's kind of scared. He's like, excuse me, like Garth in Wayne World when he's like, I'd like to get by now. And that guy's a jerk to him, right? So what does he do? Y'all old folks know what I'm talking about. He goes out of his car and he gets some kind of battery pack. And when he comes back and that big guy doesn't let him by, he like zaps him. And that's just it. With some people, they don't hear your polite declaration. They don't hear your, excuse me, I'd like to get by now. You're gonna have to zap them. in order to get them to pay attention to your boundaries. All right? Whew. So that's the energy that we're at right now. Okay? You love your own energy. Look how much you are loving being in your own vibe. And you're like, but I kind of want to, I don't know, I guess I'll go see my friends, or maybe I got to go back to the office, or you're going to have to go back around people. And you're like, how do I protect all of my wonderful vibe when I'm around this? Because this is what you meet in the world. You know what I mean? All right. Whew. Interesting start. Then we've got some cards on the table from the highly recommended Revelations Tarot, especially if some people, I know when they read tarot, they do not read reversals, but check this out. He builds the reversal into the image. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. This is a card that came up to me in the shuffle, the Fool. You are ready for a new journey. Like you want to come out of your little like anemone cave, and you're ready for a new journey. You're ready to go. You're ready to be you. I love it. Look at this. This is your little baby you. And because it's nestled in the center of that pink rose, or maybe it's a carnation or a peony, it doesn't matter. Pink flowers like that, to me, that's self-love. You got this brand new sense of self-love, and you're ready to go out and tackle the world. And you want to protect it because it's tender, it's vulnerable, it's delicate. It is, I mentioned chameleons earlier, and you know, the thing is, I had a chameleon as a pet for a while when I was much younger, like when I was 20. And they're actually very difficult to keep because they're so sensitive to their environment. Okay? They're very sensitive to their environment. And you've ever kept amphibians as well. If there's any sort of toxin in the environment, they're going to absorb it through their skin. And that's kind of like you are aware of the fact that this part of you that you love is really, really sensitive to external influence, right? So here's that butterfly you want to go chase. And you see how he's holding that wand. It is kind of blocking his heart chakra. Because, again, you don't want anything that's going to happen that wand ends up being very important as we move through this. Interesting. Because you're just like, I'm cool over here with my energy. I'm just probably going to go ahead and like put a gate up and not let anybody else mess with this good energy that I've got right here. Okay? So that's where you're at. You're ready to go. But you're very highly defensive. This card actually, I'm going to be real with you guys. I definitely felt like I was the subject of a psychic attack after talking about the devil walking around the earth in my Taurus reading. Okay? Knock on wood. I did do, and then even the first couple times I tried to sit down and do this reading today, I was feeling sick. And I really had to sit down because like protection is not something that I did when I was early on, like when I first started reading. I didn't take seriously the warnings to really get down your protection work before you get into this. So before I sat down and did your reading today, I did a lot of protection work, and I'm just kind of always like, is that good? Is that good? Is that good? Guides, am I doing it right? And when I picked up and started shuffling, they showed me this 7 of Wands. This is my card for protection when they're like, we got you. We got you. You got your shield up now. It's okay. You have up your energetic defenses. And in fact, that card is coming out together with the Hierophant. You see how they're each wielding this wand. And it's like an Ace of Wands. It's excitement. It's inspiration. You don't want anybody to rain on your parade. You're just not having it. You're like, this, I've been working on this on this parade. My floats are ready. We got the balloons, right? Like you are so ready for this new journey. Okay? And you are guarding it. And look at this, maybe even spiritually. This comes through as guide energy. I feel like your guides are saying to you, look, we've got you. We've got you. We've got you. We also like that really cool vibe you got going on, and we want to help you protect it. And so Spirit is saying, have faith, all right? Maintain this relationship. Understand that we've got this, okay? We're here for you. That's really what that Hierophant is coming through to say right now. Because what comes next is this Eight of Pentacles and this Page of Wands, which means what you've been doing is you wanted to make sure you had like your parameters in place before you really started working on something that you're very excited about. So there you are with your wand again. But you look how she's all like, what? What are you talking about? She's just amazed. She's just excited, right? But this Eight of Pentacles is about work. For some of you guys, it is, oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, so one of my guides is Bridget. Okay, Bridget, the Irish goddess, the Celtic goddess, the Catholic saint. And she's the one who Imbolc celebrates, all right? So Imbolc is an Irish holiday that celebrates. It comes halfway between the equinoxes, the winter. Am I right? Is it the equinoxes? I have to check my calendar. Okay, but anyways, it's a solar calendar date, and it marks the coming of spring. So one of the things that I've been meaning to do in honor of Bridget is I have this chamomile, and it's often they do it in traditionally with like reed grass, and there's a way that you can fold it into a Saint Bridget's cross, right? And if you look up Saint Bridget's cross, like it's just really cool, like woven thing, right? Sometimes pentacles show up to me as protective symbols. To me, it looks like this person has just woven this. So that's why I was just kind of like, it's kind of a reminder. Bridget's like, don't forget to make me that cross. It's my holiday. But also, this is, for some of you guys, you are putting in some sort of work or devotion towards deities and ancestors. Some of you guys are just working on your habits and patterns and behaviors to try to keep yourself on task. All right? But the way you see how he's guarding this kind of like this, I don't know what this circle represents in the middle. I see. Okay. But that's what it's your project. Whatever this is that you want to move forward towards, Spirit is like, we got your back. We got your back. Okay? Go ahead and keep working. Get to work. And you're working diligently on this. For some of you, you are working on some sort of handmade craft. All right? But this is just really exciting. And I feel like the magic is starting to pour out of you. And you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, is this really what my energy is like? Like, I've been letting it be influenced by all these other things. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff right here. So that's you digging yourself. Talking to Spirit and saying, Spirit, I really dig this part of myself, but I got to keep it on lockdown. And Spirit's like, we got you. We got your back. So here's the catch. Spirit really is saying we've got your back. Setting up parameters is your task that you've been given right now. Meaning, for actually the first idea, and I know we're getting a little long, but we'll get to the message. The first idea that I got with setting up parameters is going off on this journey. For some of you, yeah, because we got the Seven of Cups reversed, which means that setting up parameters is like, wow, look at all these amazing things that I can create. At some point in time, you have to be like, but now I'm going to narrow it down. Now I'm going to I can't dream up everything all at once. So I'm going to focus my energy and intention on one thing. And that's what that Queen of Wands is coming out for. But she is reversed. Interesting. All right. Yeah. Some of you guys just know that you can't be effective at 1,000 things at once, which is unfortunate because Geminis can think up 1,000 things at once. We just can't always follow through with them. You know what I mean? So here's the thing that you Spirit is like, yes, you're doing the thing. We're asking you to set up parameters because also we love this energy that you're trying to guard, and we love what it is that you want to create in this world with it. But I'm going to look at these other cards and see what ones come out. Because there's a message about doing it right, all right? Because the Emperor is all about boundaries. The Emperor is the setter of boundaries. He's the dude who will walk up onto the shore and plant a flag on the beach like it means something, right? It's like territory, very territorial, okay? So when he comes out reversed, I feel like, you see how this guy's like, this is the ideal Emperor that you want to be, where you just know. It's almost like all you have to do is speak your boundaries. You don't have to like physically, right? See how he's like physically like, no, this is my stuff. Get away from my stuff. No, you just got to be that dude who gives the look that's like, oh, I'm not going to touch his stuff. You know what I mean? So Spirit wants to talk to you about the way in which you're setting up those boundaries. You don't have to do all that. Okay? They want you to be just more authoritative. Okay? And in fact, we're going to get back around to Nietzsche again. Are we going to? Okay. We're getting back around to Nietzsche again because Nietzsche talks about that. He talks about like when we do not honor our own boundaries. Here's what happens. I got you. I know what deck wants to come out. We don't honor our own boundaries. Here's what happens. We end up surrounding ourselves with things that we just have to constantly say no to. No. And then we become these no-sayers, like these naysayers. It creates a negative thought pattern, right? So you found something within yourself that you want to say yes to. Say yes to life. That's what he's talking about. Is that, I don't know if it's Ecce Homo or Twilight of the Idols. Okay? But he talks about how much energy we exert trying to block out things that we don't want in our lives, instead of just saying yes to what we do want and focusing all of our energy on that. Okay? What do you? Life purpose. Okay. See how she's emanating this energy? And what the Emperor is essentially trying to hold on to is here. It's this globe, this orb. Remember I said, I don't know what this thing is, but it's something that you're trying to create, right? It's a world. It's a whole new world. A whole new world. I'm just sorry. It really is though. You're like, whoa, now that I know that like I am the source of this goodness, we're going to do some things with it. Okay? And there's your heart chakra activation. And Spirit is like, look, you don't have to like put on the shoulder pads and the helmet and like take this defensive position. All you have to do is emanate who's boss. Let your vibration tell the world who's boss. Let the actions that you take in the direction of your dreams tell the world what you will and will not put up with. Okay? That's a lot of what this is saying right now. You have, now that your heart is activated, you have this ability, and I feel like this message come up in readings several times. So when it comes to speaking boundaries, it is important to know the words to say. I don't like it when you do that. I'm not going to come over if you do that. I don't like it when you do that. I will not continue to work here if you do that. You know what I mean? It's important for us to learn the words, to write ourselves a script for how we make those polite declarations. But if you're like, excuse me, please respect my boundaries. Or are you just going to walk in and be like, I'm just the boss. So emanate an energy, okay, that shows people who you are, all right? because it's not, I feel like some of you guys, you're like, oh man, I've got all this energy, and like when I bring it into a room full of people, it soaks up everybody else's energy. Spirit's saying that doesn't mean you have to shrink yourself. Keep yourself big, but let that energy be authentic and be real. Speak your boundaries, but also just show people who you are. I literally said these words to somebody earlier because some people aren't going to listen. I said, look, I know who I am. I'm not trying to change anybody else's mind about it. Just show up and be who you are. Don't worry about changing anybody else's mind about it. And if it's I don't know, it's like I can't even place it like in a quote or a chapter or a verse or anything like that. But there is this, reparenting yourself, teaching yourself how to have boundaries. There's this quote in the Bible where it's not quite the turn the other cheek thing, but he's like, oh yeah, there's evil out there. I think Jesus said something like this. You just turn your back on it. Just be like, okay, hi evil. And then just like, you can't sit here. And then just go on your day. The more time you spend trying to enforce your boundaries with certain people, the more energy you're not spending in this beautiful thing about yourself that you love. Okay? So, this is what emotional freedom is. You don't have to stop and say goodbye to everybody on the way out of the party. You don't have to explain to people why you're leaving. No. Sometimes you just go home. You just go home. You're not having a good time, just go home. You don't have to make excuses. If you're not having a good time, you can just go home. Spirit is saying that. And what I like about this is like, it's almost like, look, here they are in this land where there is a boundary. And dude, it's a rabbit and an owl and a Pegasus playing together. This is almost like you will find your people with whom you can just be you, and it won't water down. Like being around other people isn't going to water down who you are because it's in alignment with you. And therefore it's only going to help you grow and expand. All right? Gemini, I didn't mean to talk so much, but didn't I kind of warn you? It's what we do. All right? I love you, my fellow gems. Hit that like button before you go, and I'll catch you later.